Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 in this antique VW radio repair and Bluetooth retrofit. If you missed part 1, I encourage you to click this link up in the top right, we'll take you to it. Last video got into the introduction, talked about possibilities where we might put the module, discussed the prototype of the module, how we would leverage the A2DP library with the ESP32, tested out our prototype with the Dynaco ST70 amplifier, added on a power supply that we could use for 5 volts, tested that power supply, looked at our current budget, and we kind of left off there till we got more parts. Now that the parts have arrived, we could continue this project with the repair of the radio. And we're done. Let's continue. Looking at the power supply portion of the schematic, we could see the incoming voltage from the car battery. It goes to this spark plate and then onto the switch for the radio. From there, it goes to a filter choke that we see, and right past that filter choke here, marked as 18, is where we want to connect our power supply for the electronics we're going to add. That seems like the ideal location, and we'll see a wire going off to the finals. There's a couple of areas of the finals that connect that. There's also another orange cable that goes off to the circuit board. But this is it. Let's have a look inside and see how that works. Power cable comes in from the outside of the radio through the spark plate here into the switch and out of the switch into the choke, and then out the other side of the choke through this yellow wire, meets up here by the coil as a meeting point. On pin 18, power it up. We're seeing just under 12 volts that I would expect at this point. That's just fine. Shut it off, back to 0. Turn it on again, right there. It's looking good. This looks like a good point of presence to put the power for our new unit. Just want to stop for a moment. This grounding lug has been soaking. I want to see if it's ready to come off. Does look like it's starting to break free now. Soak it for about 2 days. I start with 2 wrenches and I get it loose enough. I move on to a socket. It seems easier to do. Try this for a little bit. Finally graduating up to vice grips to hold this in place on the socket again. And then I just end up shearing the thing right off. Look at that. Turns out it's quarter 20, and I checked the book to confirm this. So I'll have to find a quarter 20 bolt that size and come back to this. Now I got everything hooked up. Power supply is back here. A regulated power supply is connected over here, and the meter is reading the output of the regulated power supply. We'll give it a shot. We turn it on, and it's 5 volts. Turned on with the power switch of the radio. Exactly what we wanted. Move it over a bit here. As expected, we see that fluctuations for power requirements within the radio as I come on and off frequency have no effect on the regulated 5-volt power supply, which is what we want, so this is good. Off frequency, I toggle the power of the power supply to hear if there's a change in the static, any noise or whatnot. I hear none, so that's a good sign. I'm ready to add cables to support that power supply, but first the bolts are here, so we're going to put that in. I'm just going to drop this quarter 20 right in. And before I put it in, I'm just going to put a little red Loctite right there on the threads on the end. If I tighten it down, because this isn't a bolt that you would expect to remove, the other side has a sort of pin that holds it in place. When the correct bolt is used, I only have to tighten one side. I don't have to hold the inside. There we go. Armed with the knowledge obtained, I've extended the power that was coming off this yellow wire to the circuit board, this trace over here, and the ground as well. And now I have two leads. And these leads are now coming up. I've soldered them directly to the 5-volt regulator. I now have the test equipment testing the output of the 5-volt regulator with the on and off switch of the radio, and we can see that we have a good connection. Let's go back to the hardware now and add the multiplexer. Start with our Charlie Delta 74 Hotel Charlie 4051 MUX. We'll take 5 volts off our regulated power supply at pin 16. Ground will go to ground at pin 8. Negative voltage input will also be tied to ground, pin 7. The 3 select lines will be tied to GPIO 19 at pins 9, 10, and 11. Bluetooth signal out will go to pin 4, channel 7. AM signal out will go to pin 13, channel 0. Common pin 3 signal will return to the radio. Some changes to the code here. Made a constant called MUX pin. Made that GPIO 19 for now. And that is an output. I've assigned that here in the setup. This setup right here is just for my notes. We can see it's commented out, and that is from the A2DT sync config. I've added this line from Phil that makes the output mono from his recommendation. And also I've added these 2 lines that sets a callback feature within the program that I'll talk about in just a second. I've also renamed it to the Artec VW Sapphire 9. Each of these callbacks that I've created is just going to take that output pin and it's going to make it toggle up and down in a way that we could see it on a meter for connect and disconnect. So if we look here, we're going to see in a loop, we're going to check our audio states just as before, but we're going to go and set those high and low as well with an indication on the MUX pin. So the MUX pin is going to provide a lot of output for us in the example. Our whole system now powered by our 5-volt power supply that we hooked up. We'll take a look at the Bluetooth and we will hit the connect on our Artec VW Sapphire 9, which is the pulse indication. There it is. I'll hit play. Though the output's not connected, we won't hear it. We see that the MUX pin goes high, 3.3 volts, working just fine. I'll hit pause, and after a small delay, the MUX pin should drop back down to 0. And there it is. Now I'm going to hit forget device, and as soon as the Bluetooth disconnects, we should see a pulse or 2 on the MUX pin that we've set up for that notifier. There it is, showing us that it's disconnected. It's working good. We're going to have some fun for just a minute.
Bluetooth connected.
As you heard, we're going to have a better notifier than having to hook up a meter for output. So I just made a sound for connect. I'm going to do the same thing with disconnect. I'm going to save it as uncompressed raw, as I'm showing here. 16-bit PCM. Using Audacity. And save it in appropriate file name. And I'll tell you, I re-recorded these audio files like 5 times to get it right. This is just one example. You'll see that it's saved as a raw file, and I'll use XSD-I, the raw file, and then the output to the C file to give me a nice C array that I'm going to use, because it's just going to be digital data, a very large file. In this case, because I didn't have mono, and it was recorded in 44,000 hertz, but we could see this is what it looks like regardless. And I've put that into our project in a separate header called audio data. So I got connect and disconnect stored as a very large array, as we see here, constant unsigned character, the name of it in a separate header file to keep everything nice and clean. I then included that header file into the project, as we see here, as well as driver i2s.h is another library needed. And then we could see the size of those files are also needed, so I've added them. We could also see more definitions pertinent to these 2 files have also been declared. Separate function called play audio has been created. It's purpose driven to play these 2 audio files and nothing more. It takes an argument that's Boolean 1 or 0 to determine if it's playing the connect file or the disconnect file, and converts between the 2. Also sets the sample rate that I need to accommodate the way I've recorded it, experimenting at this time as we see here with 11K. There's also a small routine that stops some noise from appearing at the end by redefining how many bytes are sent in the very last write instruction to the DAC. Then we set it back to 4400, which is a sample rate for the Bluetooth. The callbacks that we just used to make the meter bounce for connect and disconnect are now used for play audio 1 or play audio 0. These in turn call the appropriate sound. Nothing has changed in the setup function. Audio out state reports to the MUX pin, which refreshes every half second. Let's try out all these new features. Amp is hooked into the DAC. We're about to connect this phone to Bluetooth.
Bluetooth connected.
That worked nice. We'll shift to music for like 2 or 3 seconds. Demonstrate that the music works from Bluetooth after we directly wrote to the DAC. And now we'll disconnect.
Bluetooth disconnected.
I'm going to call that a pretty awesome feature. Moving on to the main project, the resulting signal to be amplified as sound makes its way to junction 13 right here. And this is right before the volume knob. As we see over here, this is where we want to inspect as our MUX output. And here I got an oscilloscope in there, and we could see on the oscilloscope that there is resulting waveform from the audio signal on junction 13 just before the pot. The signal itself unaffected by the volume control, nor by the tone control. The signal going to this point is 300 millivolts. I've disconnected that wire now and added a lead. Now we're going to complete this circuit through the output on MUX 0. With pin 19 low, all outputs go to 0. Tied to 0 comes around the output right to this blue wire, which I'm tying together with the O-scope. So I turn on the radio and give it an output of 0 on pin 19. Everything runs through channel 0 on the MUX, and it runs just like normal, AM, no problem at all, working just as expected. When I hit play, it goes dead silent, because now it's expecting the channel 7 to be the input. So now I'll hit pause, and it does take a couple seconds. I have to find a setting to reduce that. It goes back to AM, working as designed. We're going to add Bluetooth in. I'm going to tie leads to the left channel because it is mono. So we're going to solder in a couple leads now. Same circuit, but now the DAC is wired into channel 7 on the MUX. We'll hit play, see what happens. And it works good. Volume should be just at about half, just about over half, to get the 300 millivolts that we get from the input from the AM. And the volume knob does work on the radio as well as the tone knob. So we got the whole entire system running now. I still have that couple second delay to drop the signal when I shut off the audio. I'll have to work that out. There we go, back to AM. And that's it for this episode of this Bluetooth retrofit into this antique VW radio. In the next episode, we're going to miniaturize this and mount it into the radio, completing this entire project. Still some challenges ahead. Hit that like button down below, helps me out a lot when you do. And hit that subscribe button for more videos like this when they come out. When the next video comes out, a link over here will be posted on the top right corner. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Would you like to reply?